Today is a monumental day for the Guyana Fire Service and our beloved nation. This event symbolizes yet another progressive step toward enhancing public safety, protecting lives, and safeguarding property. The acquisition of these firefighting vehicles is not just a milestone, it is a testament to the government's dedication to the welfare and security of its people. These additions form part of a much larger transformation that has positioned the Guyana Fire Service to better protect lives and property. This fleet of specialized vehicles will empower us to respond swiftly and effectively, particularly in areas where accessibility has been a challenge. Under the dedicated leadership of the Government of Guyana, we have witnessed the most significant investment in the fire service to date, spanning not only the acquisition of modernized fleet, but also the development of critical infrastructure, equipment, and training. This includes specialized appliances designed to address the unique challenges of our growing urban centers, industrial zones, and rural communities. These resources collectively reflect a bold and visionary commitment to public safety and national resilience. This transformation could not have come at a more pivotal time. As Guyana continues to evolve with rapid industrial development, expanding urban landscapes, and the growth of vital sectors like oil and gas, our ability to respond swiftly and effectively to emergencies is more crucial than ever. The government's forward-thinking investments ensures that the Guyana Fire Service is equipped to meet these demands and exceed expectations. Today, as we take this significant step forward, let us recommit ourselves to the mission of the Guyana Fire Service to protect lives and property from destruction by fire through employment of best practices. Thank you. It is now my honor to invite Mr. Gregory Wickham, Chief Fire Officer of the Guyana Fire Service, to deliver his remarks. Mr. Wickham has been a steadfast leader in advancing the operational capabilities of the Guyana Fire Service, ensuring that our team is equipped to respond effectively to emergencies across the nation. Mr. Wickham.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. His Excellency, Dr. Mohamed Ifan, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana and Commander-in-Chief, Honorable Minister of Finance, Dr. Ashley Singh, Honorable Minister of Home Affairs, Mr. Robson Ben, Honorable Minister of Local Government, Madam Sonia Parag, Her Excellency, British High Commissioner Jane Carlin Miller, Chief of Defense Staff, Commissioner of Police, Director of Prison, Director of National Intelligence Security Agency, National Security Advisor to His Excellency the President, Permanent Secretary within the Ministry of Home Affairs, Head of the Training and Recruitment Board, chairperson of the National Fire Advisory Board, Deputy Chief Fire Officer, officers of Guyana Fire Service, our EMTs, leaders of the religious groupings represented by their prayers, our hardworking EMTs and firefighters, officers all, members of the media, and to all special invitees. Today, it marks indeed an important milestone in the history of Guyana Fire Service. I spoke to and with the Honorable Minister of Home Affairs, indicating to him in my years of service that this is the first occasion where the Guyana Fire Service would have the president to be a part of any ceremony. That there is notable and deserves an applause. So, His Excellency, we take great pride in having you be here with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, today marks a momentous occasion in the Guyana Fire Service history and in our country. The commissioning of these new appliances and vehicles and other resources added to the Guyana Fire Service fleet is remarkable. And I dare to say that this commissioning ceremony would be the largest by any means ever done by the government of Guyana to the Guyana Fire Service. That in itself, I think, deserves a round of applause. I would like to take this opportunity to extend our heartfelt thanks to the government of Guyana for their invaluable support in making this day possible. Your commitment in ensuring that our fire service has the tools and the need to respond to any emergency, to save life, to protect lives and property from destruction by fire, is worth the while commending. The funding, the resources, the continuous backing you have provided allow us to effectively be able to reach those communities that prior to this year would have been unreachable, and they would have suffered many consequences of fire loss. But to date, with the commissioning of these appliances, we would be able to reach those communities that were unreached for many, many, many years. That in itself is applaudable. Your support not only strengthens our fire service, but also ensures that our community remains resilient and protected in times of need and stress, fire-related. To our firefighters, thank you for your bravery. Our emergency medical technicians, over the years, who would have rendered support to many, many lives. And I dare say that you were able to deliver 16 newborn babes safely into this world. That is commendable. Thank you very much for the bravery and the professionalism you have shown, the tireless work in protecting all of us. These vehicles are a reflection of your dedication, and we are proud to have you on the front line serving as first responders. With these new vehicles, we look forward to continuing to serve our communities with excellence, and we are confident that they will play a key role in the many lives and properties we will save from the destruction by fire. Thank you again to the government of Guyana for your steadfast support and to everyone who has made this achievement possible. Together, we are building a safer and a stronger future for all Guyanese. As we work, we will ensure that we follow steadfastly to ensure that we achieve the vision of His Excellency of the One Guyana platform as we work to ensure that homes and families are protected and remain safer. I would have to add a bit out of the speech itself or the remarks. I remember when I joined this job, His Excellency, in 1992, the early part of 1992. After finished training, I was placed to work at the airdrome, that is Timir International Airport. And I recall vividly that one such time when His Excellency then, the deceased, Dr. Jagan was returning from an overseas trip. And the custom is that we'll do the regular presidential standby, where the appliances will come in a certain position and one of them will tail the aircraft. We were in such a terrible shape that the one ailing appliance went to stand by to tail the aircraft. And the other aircraft that had an engine that was not operational, firefighters, we had to string ourselves at the back and put it in a position. Of course, it was a facade. So I said that to say that I'm proud to be at the helm of this service today, where all of our appliances, they're operational, and even when we are acquiring appliances, they are all new appliances that we're getting. So the years of purchasing reconditioned vehicles is over. I want to thank the government particularly for creating this change so that the firefighters will be more confident in performing their duties, knowing that we have the equipment and the tools that are functional. And I will also dare to say, in us acquiring these pieces of equipment and fire tenders in the Caribbean, Guyana is the only country, and the other islands that are there, that has a Bronto skylift, an appliance that can take firefighters 120 feet in the air to do firefighting and to do rescue. So that in itself is plausible. We are leading, His Excellency, and I want to thank you for government's commitment and support to ensure that the fire service is equipped to lead not only in this geographic space of our native land, Guyana, but even in the Caribbean. On many occasions, we are leading. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Next, I invite Honorable Sonia Parag, Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, to deliver her remarks. Minister Parag has been a vital force in fostering development at the local level, emphasizing the importance of strengthening regional support systems for public safety.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. His Excellency, Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, heads of the joint services, minister colleagues of the Cabinet, as well as the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Home Affairs, our National Security Advisor, Mr. Jerry Gavaya, our British High Commissioner, and officers of the Fire Service, distinguished invitees that are here. Good morning to you all, and may I wish you a healthy and prosperous new year, since this is the first time of the year I'm seeing you. As I have been proud to be a part of a government since 2020, to stand at events after events, not just for the show of it, but that has had real impact and has been meaningful to the citizens of our country. I stand here very honored today to be at another event that will do that, that will make our homes and our communities safer. Very, very recently, as in days ago, His Excellency conducted a visit in Region 10. And at that visit, he made a statement that said, we're not asking for political power, we're asking for political responsibility. When you have political responsibility, you will make decisions and you will make investments that will be for the people and for the welfare of the people, to make our communities safer, to make our people happier, to make our businesses thrive, to make our economy on the whole thrive. This particular event is significant in the sense that it will not only equip the Guyana Fire Service, but it will also enable the capability or the ability of the neighborhood democratic councils to adequately respond to the needs of the citizens in a community. And so at a local governance level, His Excellency has demonstrated his political responsibility and his astute leadership yet again. We have never in the history of this country been able to, at now 40 NDCs, because you have 40 of these mobile firefighting vehicles be placed at the NDCs. In addition to that, it doesn't just stop there. It's not you're taking a vehicle, plumping it on a body or an authority, and then they just use it wildly. Personnel will be trained as auxiliary firefighters to be placed at each of these NDCs for the effectiveness that we want out of this and the quick responses that we want out of this. When you have political responsibility, as His Excellency stands as the head of state of our country, you do not sweep issues under the carpet. You confront them, you invest, and you find the best possible solutions for those issues. And that is what he has been doing from the time he took office. This demonstrates that, because we have had reports. We don't shut our eyes to issues. Every community, several communities, when you open the newspapers, maybe you'll get a message directly. You'll see it on social media in 1 minute, where a house is burned down, where families are being burnt to death, where lives are being taken from us. And in very, very prompt response to that, His Excellency invested to ensure, our president invested to ensure that our communities are equipped, not just from a central level, but at that local level. At that first level of engagement. And that is the kind of consultation, that is the kind of investment, that is the kind of impact that we want to have. And I continuously see it. So if I may say so myself, this is a direct honor to our constitutional and the fundamental rights in our enshrined in our constitution, to the right to life and protection of life. And I'm very, very happy, but I would want to give a charge that though we have the vehicles, and though the government and His Excellency is making sure that he provide those equipment to make you capable, that you, the personnel, have to ensure that you carry out your functions to a T, that you respond with the effectiveness, because we can't have a one Guyana just by holding a tent and putting all 6 ethnicities under it. We have to ensure that our resources are delivered to the people equitably, and we have to ensure that we respond to every community equitably. So this is why the personnel, you, the people, you, those who are in charge of these vehicles, it's necessary that you be as professional and ensure that you carry out your functions to a T. So with those brief remarks, again, I'm very, very pleased to be a part of this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Parak, for your encouraging words and for your steadfast support of the initiatives aimed at enhancing the capacity of local and regional bodies to ensure public safety and community resilience. I would like to invite Her Excellency Miss Jane Miller to give brief remarks. Thank you.
Your Excellency, please allow me to stand on existing protocol, but it's a huge honour to be here today. So I'm Jane Miller, the British High Commissioner, and what an honour it is to be here to see the opening of this new fire station, but also the vehicles that are here. So Ghana, we're in a really exciting time in Ghana. Everywhere we look, there's new buildings, new hotels, new bridges, new things happening. And anywhere around the world, we know that fires are a risk. And fires are becoming increasing risk. I don't know if any of you got push alerts, but I've just had one from the BBC. People killed in California by wildfires. As climate change happens, we will see more fires happening. And I know in Guyana, when my team was just talking to me earlier about wildfires in Guyana, and I understand that from January to April last year, Guyana Fire Service responded to 1,285 fires. So fires are a reality, whether we're talking about the economic growth and all the new buildings, or whether we're talking about wildfires, or whether we're talking one of the wonderful things I love about Georgetown or about Guyana is its wooden properties. Aren't they stunning? But they are a fire risk. So I think it's excellent that investment is being made in the fire service. And the company that the government has procured these fire engines from is a UK company called Angloco. And I had the honour of going to visit them just in September this year. They are a world-class organisation. As we were going around, I was seeing fire trucks that are being built for New Zealand, for Hampshire in the UK, for Essex, for Barbados, and for Guyana. What's unique about this company is that they custom make it for every country. They work out what are the needs for that country and make sure it's made. These are world-class vehicles you have here. They're innovative. And this is what the UK provides. One really important thing about Angloco is they've had a long relationship here in Guyana. They've been working for the last 30 years. So something the UK does is when we bring in companies, we're not fly-by-night, come in, deliver, and off. We want a long-term relationship. And Angloco is a really good example of those kind of long-term relationships. The last 30 years they've been working here. They provide innovation. They provide customized service. Not only do they deliver, but they also provide maintenance and training to the fire service. So they provide a complete package. So I'm incredibly proud that it's a British company that's behind this. And I do know that this will save lives. So huge congratulations. But I thought I'd just read you a quick text. So I was in touch this morning with the team at Angloco. And Steve goes on to say, it's been such a pleasure working with the Guyana Fire Service. I think for the 30 years I've been working, since 1990 with them, I don't think I've ever had a bad word to say about Guyana. To be honest, they've always been kind and helpful on my visits over the years and always looked after me, made sure I was okay, and also make sure I was working well. So, you know, you've kept their feet to the fire, probably the wrong analogy to use, but you've made sure that they deliver for you. And we as a UK company, will make sure that they provide a good service to you. So huge congratulations to Guyana for buying these really high quality, innovative and custom made service. So thank you very much.
It is now my honor to welcome the Honorable Robinson Ben, Minister of Home Affairs, to deliver his remarks. Minister Ben has been instrumental in driving strategic initiatives to improve the effectiveness of our public safety agencies, including the Guyana Fire Service. Minister Robinson Ben.
Well, good morning, Your Excellency Irfan Ali, President of the Republic of Guyana, my cabinet colleagues, Ashley Singh, Sonia Parag, the heads of our discipline services, Chief of Defense Staff, Commissioner of Police, Director of Prisons, Chief Fire Officer Wickham, Captain Jerry Gopaya, the Security Advisor to the President, Mr. Sugrim, the Chairman of the Fire Advisory Board, the former Chiefs of the Guyana Fire Service, Mr. Gentle, and the Head of the Training Board, Her Excellency Jane Miller, Permanent Secretary, all officers and ranks of the Fire Service, including the Ambulance Service, special invitees, ladies and gentlemen. I am happy in some way that the Chief Fire Officer reminded us of the parlous state the Fire Service itself was in 1992. While we are here now at this commissioning recognition ceremony, I want to first off too, paying attention to the previous remarkers, the position we are at today, this day, where out of the engagement and the willingness to respond to the imperatives of national development here today, the fact that under the visionary leadership of President Irfan Ali, ably supported by our Senior Minister of Finance, Ashley Singh, and also with the advice of persons in the service, in the ministry, and also paying attention to the challenges we have in respect of the question of the loss of life and property and the disruption of service and the economy which come about as a result of fires. Guyana itself is at a momentous point in its development. And this is emphasized here today by what I would consider in terms of the investment of the fire service, particularly today, that there's a representation across the board here today where we reinvent the Guyana Fire Service. In fact, it should be a Guyana Fire and Rescue Service, but a reinvention of the fire service itself, and the follow-on, the resulting thing which has to come about, has to come in the matching up of the soft skills, the personnel, in relation to rising to the level of the tremendous investments which are being made, particularly here too, as emphasized in respect of the question of fires. We see the development all around us. Somebody recently said that persons are walking on development and experiencing development, but some of them are causing it and not acknowledging development. The development is real, it is physical, it's transformative. It will not be seen at this space and in respect of the various agencies in the security services overall for generations to come. We are at a transformative position, and the government is responding to those imperatives which are required in relation to responding to the challenges we have. There are old challenges and there are new challenges. The new challenges of development, we see high rises going up. We've just talked about the Bronto Skylift. We're going to have 2 of those. And we are seeing developments in the port. We flew over late yesterday coming out from the interior. And you see the dramatic development in the port. We will be having another fireboat in relation to respond to the challenges on the water and at the wharves in relation to the development which are ongoing. I would still say I'm happy to be around to see this development because some of us have gone through the full gamut of the changes and what was and what is happening now. And so I'm so happy to be still around that it is going on and to see it for myself and to want to encourage you younger persons to pay attention to what the country needs, to pay attention to what Guyana needs in every area. I keep saying that it is not simply the question of having the physical assets and the mobile assets. It's a question of how we perform. It's a question of whether we see ourselves as supporting each other. It's a question of how we need to look for synergies and cooperation and across services and have enough awareness and intelligence as to what the needs are. And not only to have what they call nowadays the artificial intelligence, but the actionable intelligence in relation to what has to be done for our development, for the younger generation who are here now of Guyanese and for the next generation of Guyanese. Because these investments in buildings and in the resources, even the assets which may be replaced, will be renewed and will be improved upon as long as the PPPC is in government and as long as Irfan Ali and Ashni Singh and Sonia are there and as long as I'm still around. Mr. President, I'm glad that High Commissioner Jane Miller had the opportunity to speak to the partnership we have with our international partner, the United Kingdom, on the question of providing these assets, which you see all here brand new, that we have to emphasize how important it is, our international partnership is with those who have the capability, the experience, and the knowledge in relation to supporting our national development and security, that this is so important. We have had some $1.2 billion in acquisitions just over the last year. The 40 pickups, which you see near to you. We've had 3 ambulances. We have 2 new Bowsers out there. And we await another telescopic firefighting vehicle, which the fire chief spoke about, the new fireboat, new Bowsers, and water tenders. The significant thing in relation to the ones for the NDCs, which Minister Sonia Parag spoke about, is the fact that even while the country grows, while the footprint of development grows, both spatially and vertically, that we have to be able to respond to those new challenges. We have to get a telescopic thing to get to the top of a building and to save persons, which was done with the telescopic boom at the Ramada when there was a fire during the cricket last year. We need to pay attention to the fact that yes, indeed, we are an oil and gas economy, and that if we put down the Wales project in full, that we would have to have the experience and techniques and the knowledge to respond to issues related to oil and gas development and to the pipelines going along the way. Those are new challenges in relation to firefighting. We have to recognize that for those persons who live in the communities, in remote communities, and in indigenous communities, that their houses burn too, that they have loss of life too. We had the experience of Madi fire, and we had the experience of a fire at Mbamadai, where there was loss of life, not to mention the loss of life along the coast in the back dams, and in the deep rural communities. And so the acquisition of these vehicles and their placement and the developments we see in relation to newer types of vehicles are responding to the imperatives of development going forward. Going forward. And I want to particularly thank Mr. Steve Job, who has been working with the fire chief and his people in relation to, in detail, work out the configuration, the types, and the quality in relation to the acquisitions we have made. I would also say that we've been able to have particularly important engagement with the Brazilian Fire Service people over at Bovista Bonfim, and that cooperation is unfolding. And there was more recently a meeting of the Caribbean Firefighters Association in Guyana. When we speak of transforming, reinventing the Guyana Fire Service, we have had 6 new fire stations constructed more recently. These include the Eccles Fire Station, Wales Fire Station, a new Ogle Fire Station, the Leonora Fire Station, the Diamond Fire Station, and of course the new headquarters here on Homestretch. At the moment, we are in the work of completing a new fire station at Charity, at Parika, at Wizrock, and at Soosdijk to reduce the response times and to have the capability on hand in respect of responding to fire. We recognize that we have more electrical equipment, we have more combustible materials in our homes, we still have the challenges of careless use of fire, but we also have the malicious use of fire, setting of fires, and also arson, which we have to respond to. And there are also fire calls of a malicious nature, and for the ambulance service, which would cause the firemen with their trucks to rush down the road to what is presumed to be a fire, and there's no fire. But there's a risk to life and property and persons on the road in getting to that, and it drains away your energy when you responding to somebody crying wolf, and there's no wolf. And then when there's a real wolf, you might not be in the best position to respond to the wolf, having gone through a couple of malicious calls during the day. So it's a significant problem that we have to work at. The Guyana Fire Service has had to respond to the issues relating to motorcycles and motor vehicles in accidents on the road. And with their EMTs have had to work to recover people from vehicles which are damaged or burning, and also to put the issues relating to accidents, the proper handling and recovery of persons who may have perished on the roads in accidents in a better position, that they're properly covered and that they're better handled, and that we don't have people gawking at them with their cell phones and posting it up. One particular issue which we have to still work at is to identify for business places in place means to fight fires, and in homes too. The question of fire alarms, smoke alarms, the question of even in the building having sprinkler system for large businesses, because we still have situations where people may invest millions and billions in businesses, but they don't have a fire extinguisher, a fire bucket, a sprinkler system, a hose leading from a tank to be the first responder, in fact, to a small fire which grows into a very large one. This is a significant problem, and also the issue of people leaving children at home with access to matches and to lighters. We want to have, and we are working at building faster response systems, more efficient response systems. We have put in place a monitoring room with cameras and GPS tracking for the vehicles. We want to make sure that the vehicles are properly maintained, managed, tracked, and do not fall into misuse. And we want to call and to exhort upon the managers in the fire service and to firefighters and the emergency medical technicians to consider what we do and how we do here, particularly at this momentous occasion. Let us take some time a bit to consider the matter, to do some introspection, to join up with the issue of protecting our people, our friends and families, to make sure that the love we profess somehow for each other, somehow we know it's there, that we put it into action when we go to fight the fire, that we are not simply on show, but we are there to do the work, and that the most critical observers are in the public looking on at you and videoing you, and that the criticisms which we may have should be noted in the response and the fire review documents so that we learn from the experience, so that on the next occasion we build on the experience in relation to the question of firefighting. In many cases, of course, it's an invidious task coming out of the history. It's a dangerous task, of course, but it is our job, and it is a job that we have to do so to protect our people and our children. We look forward with the continuing support of President Irfan Ali and the Cabinet to exemplifying the best practices operationally and administratively in relation to the Guyana Fire Service. We want the Guyana Fire Service to look like Guyana. And that is part of the spread out, that inclusivity, diversity, and those things for all the services are the watchwords. That we cannot separate or allow separations amongst ourselves in how we represent each other. And we would understand each other and work in the interest of each other better when we join hands together in this effort of developing our country and achieving the one Guyana that President Irfan Ali speaks of. In closing, I want to thank all of you for your support. I want to advise that when we go forward, we are not going forward in competition with each other, basically, but in competition with ourselves to put forward our best foot and work in relation to the jobs that we have to do. And that standing behind you and with you, as is exemplified today, is the government of President Irfan Ali, his cabinet, and all of us here to make sure that we bring out the best in each other and the best for Guyana and the best to do and put out for our women and children and future generations. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, Minister Ben, for your inspiring address and for your visionary leadership in transforming public safety in Guyana. Your unwavering support for the Guyana Fire Service continues to strengthen its capacity to serve the nation. Thank you. Finally, it is my great honor to invite His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, to deliver the feature address.
First of all, allow me to congratulate the Fire Chief and the Guyana Fire Service, the Ministry of Home Affairs, on this great occasion when we'd have made our largest single most investment in assets, both fixed and movable, that would enhance your capability and create what we're building, that is a modern ecosystem and a modern set of infrastructure that would aid you and help you in your ability to better deliver service from the fire service to every Guyanese. I want to acknowledge all the members of cabinet, the heads of services, the National Security Advisor, the British High Commissioner, and I want to thank you, Jane, for your keen interest in ensuring that this project or this procurement was completed in a very efficient way. I want to also thank the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Guyana Fire Service for ensuring that they work steadily on having this project completed. The Minister of Finance was tasked with the responsibility of working with Home Affairs on securing, first of all, these assets. And at the time when we placed the orders for these assets, it was different shocks in the global logistics supply chain. So that had to be managed carefully. And as we continue the investment, I want to assure all of Guyana that perhaps now we have the most modern firefighting fleet in the entire region. But that is just one component of the equation. We have to ensure we have the right human resource skill set and mix, and we've been investing in that. We have had an adjustment to the scale of firefighters and officers and ranks in the joint services, and I want to acknowledge the heads of the joint services, the NISA director, and of course our national security advisor. And we had those adjustments in the ranks of our joint services. In the adjustment, there were some anomalies that had to be addressed, one of which was the difference in the basic salary of ranks at the lowest level, that's the level of constable. I think it was 130. Is it 130, right? 130 in some agency, and it was 105, 110 in some agency. So I've spoken to the Minister of Finance, and I've asked that he ensure that every rank in the Guyana, in the joint services, that is at the constable level, that every rank be paid a minimum salary of $130,000, so that there is consistency. So you have constables in the police force, in the fire service, and you have privates who are at 105 and 110. They will be adjusted to 130, so we have equity across the scale. So we have your best interest at heart, because we ask for your best too. We ask you to give of your best to our country, and we will give and the country will invest in you. Someone asked me this morning, what is my take on the future? And I told them I go to bed with a very clear conscience. And I know every day I give the best bone in me to this country. So I sleep very well. And I believe that the people of this country are very conscious. Let me also say that I've tasked the heads of service, and there's a reason why. I've asked the Chief of Staff, the Chief of Defense, the Commissioner of Police, the Fire Chief, the Director of Prison, the National Security Advisor, the Director of NISA, and for them to bring along all the commanders in the different division with Barnett, Murray, and I know the names I've asked for. And I've asked them to ensure by the end of January, in every single NDC, we have the volunteer firefighting group. I hope they remember because I asked them when we were going through the Christmas season to ensure that in every NDC, they work with the NDC to have the volunteer group established, all of whom will be persons under the $40,000 initiative that we have, the part-time employment initiative, and that the training program be developed to have those persons incorporated into the human asset base of the fire service. And I'm holding them to that responsibility. And I've asked my National Security Advisor to be a part of this because this is key for these investments. I've asked the Jane to help us in terms of getting training for the maintenance of these assets from Angloco because they are an integral part of our development and our strategic direction. I want to advise too that we have started the rehabilitation and putting a new fire hydrants all across Georgetown and in new urban centers and where we have large population. We have done hundreds of those fire hydrants. I want to thank retired Brigadier Joe Singh and his team, which include the National Security Advisor, the Minister of Home Affairs and his team for the way in which we have embarked on this project. We have a number of vibrant hydrants now functional, new hydrants, but I've asked the Minister of Finance to ensure that we have a mapping of all the hydrants that is required in these new large communities, the city, towns, and other key areas, and we are committing to finance the establishment of all those hydrants commencing this year. So that's another major initiative that we're going to have to support firefighting. These are important investments. I believe that community investment is key. And the Minister of Finance soon will be delivering a budget. And part of what we are looking at as the macro project, the large projects are now integrating into community projects is that you will see heavy emphasis on greater community investment, more community responsibility. So you will see assets that will be procured to deal with community-based problems, neighborhood-based problems, whether it's solid waste, whether it's security. And I want to, where's my phone? I just got from the establishment of the speed cameras a report, and I'll show you how technology helps us and why we have to invest in technology, especially when we have limited human resource human base. You know, we're short of human resource. And I'll show you what we have been able in 1 week to establish. I have on my phone what the Commissioner of Police would have on his phone right now. And that is an assessment of the traffic and of speeding in different areas by time of the day. And we have been able, through the use of technology, to get real information that can help us to more strategically use our police assets. So what we found in the last 5 days of data, based on these speed cameras that we have established, is that on an average, between 7 to 11% of road users are speeding. And we have the time, the peak time when speeding occurs, so that we can have, as I said, more strategic alignment of our human resource asset with real data that will help us in security and policing. So as we build out this architecture, It is not only for the fire service, but it is also how we're going to integrate security in that national security plan, in the national security architecture that is going to support safer living, better quality of life, and more secure communities. So the national security plan covers all aspect of national life and national development, and high emphasis will be placed at the community level. We are responding, of course. Last year I said when you have these new assets, and that is the thing about development. Development breeds development. So when you have these new assets, for example, a new boat that we have at Northwest, because you have this new boat, more production is occurring in Northwest. More people are traveling to Northwest. More cars, more of the miners, more foresters are using that service. So it creates its own efficiency because now we don't have enough capacity. And we are working now on meeting that capacity. We have put in an additional boat, for example, going to Supanam, and still we don't have enough capacity. So the growth that is taking place is widespread, it's regional. And that is why we have to invest in state-of-the-art assets that match the infrastructure and ecosystem of the growth that is taking place nationally. And that is why you see these type of firefighting equipment. I don't know if the media would have a demonstration, but if you open these vehicles that can go into any street in any NDC, you will see they're capable of fighting any major fire in a house. They have all the assets within this vehicle. They have the pumps. They have everything that the big fire tender would have, except that initial water storage capacity that can fight fighters. So when one of this turn up in a street, and we're hoping to put one in every NDC and then two maybe in every town council across the country. When one of this turn up, they're immediately capable of fighting the fire from these vehicles that you see here. So they have all the capacity and capability to fight the fire and so on. And you can see it's designed for quick movement, low maintenance. So we will have a major training in terms of the maintenance program. So as the Minister of Home Affairs said, we have to keep a pace with the development. And that is why we are building our capability, our marine capability. We are doing it with the security sector. By the end of February, the Commissioner of Police will have to account for all the landing areas along the river that is supposed to be completed, so that we have landing areas that help us to fight crime with the fast boat from the marine arm of the Guyana Police Force. By the end of February, the Minister of Home Affairs know that they have to get that fully established. We have given them enough time. The firefighting capability, we are now having our second marine capability, and we're also going to look at how we expand, because we have to use our natural asset. The river is an important natural asset that can help us in crime fighting, that can help us in all of this, and we have to leverage it to its optimum, and that is what we're doing. So today, it's a very historic day, but I want to spend some time now going through what is the strategic direction, the 10-point plan that we're looking at for the Guyana Fire Service and that we're implementing. You have all heard the saying that fire is a good servant, but a terrible master. Republic Day this year, which is on the 23rd of February 2025, will mark the 80th anniversary of the Great Fire of Georgetown of 1945, which flattened the heart of the city's commercial district. That is a part of our history that we would never ever want to contemplate again. Some of the major fires in our country took place within the country's commercial district, and especially in the area bordered by Water Street, Church Street, South Road, and High Street. Perhaps it is given the magnitude and widespread destruction caused by those fires that led to the decision to locate the headquarters of the fire service in proximity to the city's commercial district. However, over time, the location of the central fire station became overcrowded with vendors and minibus and car parks. This affected ingress and egress of fire tenders. Given the timely response, Given that timely response to fires is vital to reducing losses and damage, and considering the need for a larger headquarters, we took the decision to establish a new headquarters. This location was one of the few suitable places which could be found, and we moved ahead with its construction and is completed today. I want to thank all those who are involved in bringing this project to fruition. This is a red letter day in the history of Guyana Fire Service. Because apart from the commissioning of this new headquarters, we're also receiving a new fleet of firefighting vehicles and equipment. This fleet is important in terms of the new direction in which we are guiding the Guyana Fire Service. This new direction must be responsive to the challenges of firefighting in Guyana. We have to therefore build a fire service that is fit for purpose. Guyana's coastline is 459 kilometers long, and running alongside is a ribbon of villages and communities. There are also communities along our main riverbanks. Given this geography, it is challenging to establish enough fire stations along this expansive coastline and riverbank communities. As such, we must move forward towards a more devolved model of fire service, one in which we equip communities with firefighting and fire prevention resources to supplement the efforts of the Guyana Fire Service. So although we have increased our fire stations, built new fire stations by 100% over the last 4 years, 100%. We are cognizant of the fact that this too would not lead to the full effectiveness because of the geographic layout of the country. And that is why we have to invest in communities and build a capacity within communities. Timely response is critical to effective firefighting, as the first few minutes of a fire are often decisive in preventing loss of life and minimizing damage. Recognizing this urgency, we are prioritizing the deployment of early responders within communities to tackle fires immediately upon outbreak. This underscores the importance of acquiring new fire tenders, which will enhance the capacity of local responders to act swiftly and effectively. Our vision is to ensure that almost every community in Guyana is organized to respond to fires within their precincts, equipped with essential firefighting tools, and supported by accessible fire tenders. Through these efforts, we aim to empower communities to take immediate action upon the outbreak of a fire while they await the dispatch of tenders from the Guyana Fire Service. What this means is that we must establish a core of first responders within communities who are trained and mobilized to take immediate action in the event of a fire or other emergencies. These individuals will serve as the first line of defense, bridging the critical gap between the outbreak of an incident and the arrival of professional fighters. Let me pause here to say also that we'll be buying modern firefighting balls that will be part of the community support system. These are the commercial scale firefighting balls that you throw on the fire and it can help the spread of the fire. So that will be part of the first responders training. So they will be able to turn up on the scene with these modern balls that help and are critical in community firefighting efforts. I also want to say to Jane that we have acquired with the Guyana Defense, with the Guyana Defense Force, now forgot the technical name, the telebuckets for the chopper. So we have the capacity. We have already trained to fight bushfires and forest fires with the buckets. We have the buckets to be attached that can go to the rivers, dip the water. They're also going to conduct training in case we have major fires within the city or in other urban settings. So they're equipped now and they're fully trained, and we have that capacity and capability. I think it's the first such capacity and capability in the region. You would recall that in the very dry season last year, we had to have the help of Brazil to fight some of the forest fires, and they had this capability. And we have now adopted that technology and built that capability in our system. And that capability also will come with the new acquisition. So we're integrating our assets among the joint services too. And that is critical, how we integrate that asset. Soon you will see the Guyana Police Force also developing their air wing so that we can have greater capacity in that department. And that will occur as soon as, and by the end of January, I was told mid-February, the Guyana Defense Force would complete the full rehabilitation of the Ogle hangar so that we will have a more efficient deployment area for our air asset. And the Guyana Police Force will be also part of that. Our joint drone strategy is also important. So these are all key investment across the joint services that we're integrating. This approach represents a new model. We are building one that emphasizes, that is the community model, one that emphasizes community involvement and preparedness as key components of a robust emergency response system. By developing this network of local support for the Guyana Fire Service, we aim to create a more responsive framework where communities play an active role in safeguarding lives and property. I also want to spend a minute thanking Dr. Box and his team of all responders for the tremendous work. They are doing outstanding work. They are building a model and they are implementing a model that is second to none in the region. And I want to really compliment them for the work that they are doing and to let them know we are very, very proud of the work you're doing. So all of you guys and girls and Dr. Box, I commend you for your work in this emergency response and emergency services. Now I want to speak a bit about this 10-point plan. All this forms an integrative framework to improve firefighting. This morning, as I said, I would, for the first time, I think, speak holistically about this 10-point plan for the Guyana Fire Service. The first is a legal and regulatory framework. The first pillar of this plan is the improvement of the legal and regulatory framework for fire prevention. Efforts will be intensified to strengthen fire codes and standards for buildings, ensuring that structures are designed and maintained to reduce the risk of fires. As part of this initiative, legislation will be reviewed to mandate stricter inspections, certification processes, and robust enforcement of safety regulations. Additionally, stiffer penalties will be imposed for non-compliance, sending a clear message that the importance of adhering to fire safety standards is non-negotiable. These measures are all geared towards improving fire prevention, fostering a culture of safety, and minimizing the likelihood of devastating fire incidents across the country. The second aspect of the plan, institutional framework. The second pillar involves improving the institutional framework. To enhance the fire services institutional framework, we'll implement measures to improve coordination within the service and other key agencies, internally The fire service will adopt streamlined protocols to ensure that additional units can be swiftly mobilized to respond to large-scale fires or emergencies requiring greater resources. Externally, collaboration with agencies such as the police, the Guyana Power and Light, the Guyana Water Authority will be strengthened to provide comprehensive support during fire incidents. These partnerships will be built on technology and will ensure, among other things, efficient traffic management, safe power disconnection, reliable water supply, and other critical services, enabling the fire service to perform at its maximum capacity and protect lives and property more effectively. The third aspect of the pillar, risk assessment and prevention. The third pillar concerns risk assessment and prevention. The strategy here requires identifying areas of possible high risk. The rationale for identifying high risk area lies in the need to prioritize resources and tailor strategies to mitigate hazards effectively. Now, I give you an example of how we're using technology to identify high risk time of the day for accidents and so on. Same here. We have to do a high risk zoning in terms of fire, looking at our forests, looking at urban setting, looking at the type of industries and all of these things. So as I said, we have to prioritize and tailor strategies to mitigate hazards effectively, especially in regions most vulnerable to fire outbreaks. High-risk areas often include densely populated neighborhoods, industrial zones, commercial districts, and locations within limited access to water or firefighting infrastructure. To address these vulnerabilities, a comprehensive risk assessment will be conducted to create a map. That map would indicate such areas and evaluate their specific challenges and how best to respond to these. So firefighters within given locality will be trained to operate within that locality. So you have your generalized training, but you will also know where every asset is, every pond, every drain is within that locality that you're operating. And a good example of this was last night. I spent maybe an hour and a half looking at what is happening in LA and to show how they use data and information from heat. And they were able to determine that certain areas were at very high risk. And they were able to locate assets hours before the fire. Of course, the winds was much higher than they expected, but they were able to locate and sound early warning in areas. And with climate change, we have to understand that we must have this capability also because of the layout of our country, the forest cover in our country, which is a tremendous asset. We cannot afford to lose 10,000 acres of forest with a fire. The biodiversity loss, the ecological loss, all of these things. It's a great asset. So we have this great forest asset that we have to protect, and firefighting is an important part of protecting that asset too. The fourth aspect of the plan, public awareness and education. It is often said that prevention is better than cure, and in the realm of firefighting, fire prevention is unquestionably better than firefighting. This underscores the critical importance of public education on fire prevention and safety. And we're going to have a consultation with all the media houses, both established press and social media, to see how we can collaborate and how we can support them in this public education process that is critical in fire prevention. So this, as I said, underscores the critical importance of public education on fire prevention and safety. Fire safety education must become a cornerstone of our efforts, reaching schools to instill knowledge from an early age and extending into communities to foster widespread awareness. Businesses and occupants of large buildings must be equipped with knowledge of first aid techniques and evacuation procedures to ensure swift and orderly response in emergencies. Building strong community relations is equally essential, as it allows us to enlist the community's support in promoting fire safety and preparedness. The fifth aspect of the pillar, emergency response mechanism. Improving emergency response is the fifth pillar of our National Firefighting and Fire Prevention Plan. We recognize that time is of the essence in responding to fires and other emergencies. Swift response can mean the difference between a minor incident or a major disaster, making it imperative to reduce response times across the board. To achieve this, we'll invest in strategically located fire stations, ensure fire tenders are readily available, and strengthen community-based first responder systems. Additionally, improving communication systems is crucial. We'll implement modern technologies to streamline dispatch processes. These efforts will ensure a faster, more efficient response to emergencies, ultimately saving lives and minimizing damage. I've already asked the Minister of Finance to work with the British High Commissioner to identify the systems that they are using, the Angloco company is using, in terms of communicating and interacting within their structure, so that we can apply those technologies here and we can have those technologies within the first half of this year. So that is another aspect of the collaboration. We're also working with a number of retired servicemen and women, Guyanese, who would have served in the UK, the US, and Canada. And we are trying to recruit them to come back here so they can infuse a different culture, they can infuse their training, they can infuse their experience with our younger firemen and women, so that we can have a transfer, a more, what I would say, practical transfer of technology, experience, and knowledge. I've asked the Minister of Home Affairs and the National Security Advisor to get that database from Ms. Rosalinda, who is heading this desk dealing with our diaspora, so that we can engage these persons, some of whom would want to come back and share in the development of our country. So the sixth aspect of the pillar, infrastructure and equipment. The sixth pillar of our 10-point plan focuses on better resourcing the fire service to enhance its effectiveness and resilience. This includes equipping the service with modern firefighting equipment, such as advanced firefighting vehicles, specialized tools, and state-of-the-art personal protective gear to ensure the safety and efficiency of our firefighters. Additionally, we leverage cutting-edge technology, including drones for aerial assessment. By investing in these resources, we aim to empower the fire service with the tools and technology necessary to address fire incidents swiftly, safely, and effectively, aligning with the demands of a modern, evolving environment. Part of this, of course, include training, looking at the welfare of our staff, but also importantly, holding our staff accountable. Technology would be helping us to hold our staff accountable for their action. The seventh aspect of the pillar, disaster preparedness. The seventh pillar of our plan focuses on preparing the Guyana Fire Service for an expanded role in disaster preparedness, particularly in addressing the growing threat of forest fires. Extended dry weather conditions have led to outbreaks of forest fires in hinterland communities, posing significant risk to vast acreage and nearby human settlements. These fires can escalate rapidly, and we have seen this last year. From Savannah fires, we had to use the chopper. We had to deploy members of the joint services to battle major fires that could have been disastrous, posing significant risk to acreage and nearby human settlements. These fires can escalate rapidly and may require at times evacuation. To combat this threat effectively, we aim to strengthen the fire service's capability to respond to and manage forest fires. This includes specialized training for local firefighters, equipping them with the skills and techniques needed to tackle these challenging situations. By enhancing the preparedness, we can safeguard both our environment and communities, reducing the devastating impact of these natural disasters. One of the things that technology has helped us to do is to find more usable tools. I mentioned the balls, for example. We are working now, I've asked the fire chief to work with all the new hotels and commercial buildings to have these balls available on every floor so that even the guests at the hotel, if there is an emergency, can just pick up one of these balls and explode it on the fire. And that the staff can have training to use these balls. So if we have these, then it is a further effective tool that would help us. The eighth aspect of the pillar, monitoring and evaluation. As part of our National Firefighting and Fire Prevention Plan, we'll prioritize data collection, audits, and policy reviews to build a more adaptive and effective fire safety framework. A comprehensive database of fire incidents, response times, and outcomes will be maintained to analyze trends and identify areas for improvement. This feature will be digitized and will be online so that one can go and check online and see the update on a fire. They can see what was the response, what was the nature of the fire, and every aspect in relation to every fire. So that system, I've asked the Minister of Public Service to work with the National IT advisor to have this system in place before the end of the first quarter of this year. So this system would also help us with periodic reviews for the fire safety policy that will incorporate lessons learned from past incidents and leverage advancements in technology to refine our strategies. The ninth aspect of the strategy, human resources. The ninth pillar of our plan concerns our human resources. Human resource development is crucial to the long-term success of the fire service. And we are committed to strengthening this foundation by recruiting more firefighters and providing them with the comprehensive training, both locally and internationally. By investing in training programs, we aim to equip our firefighters with the knowledge and skills required to handle the diverse and complex challenges of firefighting and disaster response. Additionally, we recognize the importance of supporting their welfare and well-being, which includes offering improved financial, housing, and other benefits to ensure they're adequately cared for. Creating a positive and supportive environment will not only attract more individuals to pursue a career in firefighting, but also retain experienced personnel, building a strong and dedicated team capable of safeguarding our communities effectively. We have to build in our firefighting system the dignity that comes with this job. When you look at the developed world, firefighters are held in very high esteem. First responders, held in very high esteem. We have to shift this culture and create a new culture in this country where these men and women who is giving up their life will enjoy that same level of respect and dignity. And that is key and crucial. The 10th aspect of the plan is our strategic focus. The 10th and final pillar of our plan acknowledges the growing economy and expanding industrial base of our country and emphasizes the need for the fire service to adopt a stronger strategic focus to respond to emerging challenges. As industries grow and new sectors develop, the complexity and scale of fire risk will evolve, requiring the fire service to be adaptable and forward-thinking. Additionally, the impacts of climate change, such as increased incidence of extreme weather conditions and forest fires, will further complicate firefighting efforts. To meet these challenges head-on, the fire service must continuously develop its capabilities and ensure that its strategies align with the changing needs of a dynamic and developing nation. Our laws and regulations for the fire service were written when we had Stabroek Market and one small wharf. Today, We have shore base all across the Demerara River. Today we are talking about a deep water port. Today we have industries that are created in every single neighborhood across the country. So we have to very quickly, re-strategize and reorient ourselves to meet the future of our country. Now, that is the 10-point plan in summary. The new headquarters of the Guyana Fire Service must serve as a nerve center. This is not just a headquarter building, it's very important. Must serve as a nerve center for rolling out a strategic plan that aligns with the government's vision for a modern and highly efficient fire service. This must guide the modernization of the service with state-of-the-art facilities, advanced technologies, and a well-equipped, highly trained workforce. Now, I don't know how many of you travel around the country, but when you pass some of the new police stations, and there are many, and the rehabilitated station, it gives you a sense of pride. And, it is more friendly, more customer friendly. The building itself is more friendly. And that is what we have to create, more friendly, service-oriented infrastructure, both physical and human. The public is entitled to a service that is not only responsive, but proactive, capable of swiftly addressing fires, accidents, and emergencies with precision and effectiveness. The fire service should ensure faster response time, higher skilled personnel, and improved coordination between agencies. With improved fire prevention measures, cutting-edge firefighting tools, and a focus on continuous training, the Guyana Fire Service must set a new standard of excellence, providing every citizen with the confidence that help is always within reach. The construction of this new headquarters and acquisition of new fire tenders are clear manifestations of the government's commitment to building a professional, efficient, and responsive fire service. These investments reflect a forward-thinking approach, ensuring that our firefighting capabilities are equipped to meet the growing challenges of a modern society. With a new headquarters and an expanded fleet of vehicles and equipment, we are enhancing the fire service's operational capacity, improve response time, and positioning the service to better protect our citizens from fire hazards. This is just the beginning of a broader effort to continuously improve the fire service, ensuring that it remains at the forefront of safety, preparedness, and professionalism. I urge the care of these assets and continued success to the work of the Guyana Fire Service. I thank you and God bless you.